you see, in Germany, Germany has the idea of their supremacy. You see, it was an idea of supremacy, and Russians don't have an idea. They don't have any supremacy anywhere, none in cosmic technologies, none in genetics, none in neurophysiology, you see? So they don't have the idea for this war.
So what is the ideology in your case? Is it just nationalism?
You see, when you have the dictatorship in the country, when you don't have opposite newspapers, opposite bloggers, any other kind of thinking is punished, you can have the amount of so-called plebs, you see, those poor people who can enjoy any will of the dictator. That's it.
Yes. So
they are all slaves.
A lack of education,
you see, they are all slaves now, because not slaves only of Putin and his dictatorship, but the slaves of situation, because for 20 years they look for this growing of these intentions in the country, and they applauded them. You see, it was very good. They built.
Every time that Putin waged a war, his popularity rose in the population.
Yes,
that's something I don't understand. Yeah.
Yes. Just the same situation right now.
Did you ever see the Godzilla?
Maybe about.
Godzilla. I watched Godzilla is a big like dinosaur-looking thing that.
Yeah, I saw it. This movie about 30 years ago, maybe. Last time.
The new one. Yeah.
The concept that came from Godzilla was there to protect the people, and then from outsiders. And so when Godzilla is protecting the people from outsiders, when he's not doing that, he's attacking the people. So a lot of our leaders are like that. So a lot of times when Putin's not messing with his people and he's attacking other people, on some level it makes people feel safe. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm definitely not saying it's right. It's just a game that for some way.
No. You see, I think that it's a great honor for Putin to make a comparison with Godzilla, because just an animal isn't guilty and isn't a criminal at all. And it's a joke, of course, but you see, he's not building any idea of justice. It's not about this. Yes. It's not about socialism, you see? It's not about he came to Ukraine just to help Ukrainian people to fight with Nazis. How he can say at all about Nazis? Our president is a Jew, indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we do understand what it means, Nazis. Here all the territory of Ukraine was under occupation of German troops for 3 years. We understand German, not soldiers, pilots during occupation. Pilots lived in the house of my grandmother, while my grandfather was fighting at front for Red Army. You see?
Yes.
Yeah. So we understand the situation, and this is the how I can explain. You see, Putin in the early years of his governance, he was very much interested in some Orthodox Russian philosophers of the beginning of the 20th century, Ilyin, Berdyaev. And nowadays, Russia has such a monster it's not even a philosopher, Dugin. Those three people, they develop the way of thinking of Putin. Of course, he live in his a little bit in his own world. He don't understand. He live in bunker. First of all, he have very few real meetings with people for those 2 years because of COVID, and he always afraid of that someone can kill him. I mean Putin. So this man lives in his own world.
Yeah, he's a
You
very
see?
small man in a bubble, living in fear
Yes,
and
in a
trying to
bubble.
raise his popularity through the war
Yeah,
so he doesn't get killed. That's what
yeah.
an expert said in the a really good expert, I think, because it made sense what he said. A lot of things made sense.
Is it true that he also would, when he would be driving on the freeway, he would have the whole freeway blocked off, that nobody could go on it in Russia?
Yeah, that's probably
You see, he built just a strong structure, and so he have enough opportunities to hedge his risks. You see, we all waiting for this solving of this question inside of Russia. Of course, all are waiting because of nuclear weapons. First of all, and
yeah.
we are ready. We are ready for nuclear that he will use it. We are ready.
Mm-hmm.
Europe is not ready. Ukraine is ready because we understand.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a Russian, still a free Russian TV channel or just a channel, a media channel in Berlin of Russians who try to say the truth about this war. And this expert was a woman, very smart woman, a Russian woman, and she said that although it is right that every Russian that speaks up against the war is a hero, she says in 20 years Putin built that much of a big brother kind of state that there's no way that he will be overthrown unless it is, through sickness or, but not by the people. She didn't believe it, and she was very, very smart. I believe, when I listened to her, I thought, wow, this journalist really knows a lot. Do you think that's true?
In some way, sure, yes. But from the other side, you see, I think that he is. I'm neurophysiologist, and I try to understand each personality from the prism of biology or neurobiology, first of all. And so, as for me, he is 70 years old. He will be 70 in late autumn, and I think that he won't live until he's 70. It's my opinion. But he have some hormonal crisis at his life, and he tried to show everyone that he is a deviant old man with unbalanced level of hormones. That's it. And so it's dangerous to have such a man with highly ego understanding of himself and the role of himself in the history of Russia, because he is looking for himself as not as a dictator. He is a father for the nation, you see.
Yes.
And so
Russian Tsar, yeah.
Yeah. It's usual for Russians. For example, Ukrainians, what's the difference between Ukrainians and Russians? Of course, we are looks like the same, yeah, and we have maybe the same blood, and the language may be the same, and so on and so forth. But Ukrainians, for centuries, try not to be slaves. Russians not tried to to be slaves. It's usual for them to be slaves. You see, it's a tragedy for the nation because, for example, me is a half Ukrainian and half Russian. So Russia, it's also my history, and it's also my relatives live there. And you see, we are looking on Russia not as an enemy until the 24th of February.
Mhm.
It was a very just competent against Ukraine, but it was the competition of ideas. Ukraine was always for centuries the idea of freedom in Russian Empire, and now we get what we want. I mean Ukraine and Russia. It's hard for them to see that Ukraine from year to year become better than Russia, because people who live there, we have less money than Russia. Of course, we don't have oil and gas, but we never want to build an empire and to occupy territories. You see, when we are looking at the map of Russian Federation, it's so-called 1/6 of the whole planet
Yes.
territory. Yeah,
Yes.
and
That
we say
alone
that,
already shows you that
yes,
it's
yes.
insane. Yeah.
We are looking at this map, looking at the map of Ukraine, that a neighbor, and say that we understand that Russians, it doesn't matter how much territory they have, they never stop because they will want more territory and more.
So talking about the map, how long do you feel that Putin was working on this? And another question is, you said that you don't think that Putin's going to live to his next birthday.
I suppose that he won't.
You suppose? Yeah, I know you're not a psychic. I mean, a neurologist is the closest to a psychic, but
Yes.
But going back to the map, like, how long do you think Putin was working on this map of wanting to occupy more land?
Well, now we all understand that if Ukraine have had to fall for 72 hours for 3 days, yeah, just military experts from Britain, from USA, they mentioned that we don't have enough capacity to stand up more than 3 days, Kiev. And after 2 months of
It's a miracle.
battles,
It's amazing. Yeah.
no, it's, you see, it's
the
not just a
power
miracle. It's not only about, it's you see, it's not only about heroical Ukrainian troops and army, not only, but also because Russians are stupid. They're really stupid. They waited that they will come here and we will welcome them with
And
bread,
that's what
with
Putin told
flowers.
them. He told the soldiers that Ukrainians would welcome them. Yeah.
Yeah, they even have their parade, these ammunition. They thought, soldiers thought that in a week after the beginning, they will have the ceremony and parade on Kiev Krещатик. You see, they brought with themselves their parade ammunition. I mean, clothes. So they don't understand at all where they come. They don't understand that we prepared for war for 8 years. And you see, it's not normal in 21st century just to repeat once and again Aleppo and now Ukraine, and it's not the way of the war. You see, nowadays war, it's about cyber security or maybe special operations, but not bombing with not precise missiles. You see.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's not the war, it's the murder. It's the traditions of last centuries. It's archaic.
It changed, yeah. The technology changed. It's much more digital, yeah. And
Yeah.
Although Ukrainians were preparing for 8 years for this war, I just knew about it in the last, just like the world has known about it in a short period of time. And my first thing that came, because as crazy as Putin is, and I'm being diplomatic in that, as crazy as Putin is, he liked his level of celebrity a certain extent. And I felt that he was collapsing a lot of that. And one of the things that made sense to me that is he might be terminally ill. And that's why I was kind of asking that question earlier about not living
you see his face, it was blown, no? A little bit, like looks like he's sick a little bit, no?
Well, we heard some versions, but I think that it's about conspirology, that he have some oncology illness or something like that, or some other
Oncology is
injury.
cancer for the viewers, yeah.
For example, but exactly we don't know, first of all. And,
yeah, for sure.
And so it's difficult to explain, because there are a lot of medical situations when a man can have such symptoms, you see.
And being in a place that you're a dictator, and also you have mainly yes men around you, and you don't have people that will push back for you, it results in this. And I'm not justifying his behavior in any way.
What do you mean?
I said I'm not justifying his behavior, like the fact that if he's terminally ill, I'm not saying, oh, that's a good reason for him to do this. That just explains the urgency of, I believe, a plan that was 20, 30 years old, maybe even longer.
No, I don't think. You mean that he can be a president of the country for 20 years?
No, what he means is because he knows he's going to die, he has to make a quick move to make Russia greater and bigger.
No, he don't think about Russia at all. You see?